Yo, what's going on everybody? This is Mysticall, and today I'm going to show you how to heal Mythic Dungeons as a Mistweaver monk. I hope everyone's enjoying the expansion so far, and I'm going to hopefully help you guys heal Mythic Dungeons or be more efficient at doing it. I'm going to break this video up into before you get to the dungeon, when and what to heal at certain percentage levels, trash mobs, and then actual boss fights. So before you get into the dungeon, you might go you might be struggling trying to manage your mana. So basically go to this innkeeper in Dalaran, the new Dalaran, browse the goods, and then you have two different waters. One restores 1.2 million mana over 20 seconds, and the other restores 700,000 mana. So just buy a couple stacks of these. This helps with you and your group, because in between trash pulls you can just get mana, never have to stop. So that's really good. Another thing is you're gonna have to realize that monks are pretty gear dependent. So at 8-10 item level, healing, it's gonna feel weak compared to other healers, but that's okay, because as soon as you get to 820, 830, and then eventually 840 item level, your healing will be fine, and you're one of the best PvE healers. Another thing you're gonna want to do is download DBM if you're serious. Not even serious, if you're doing mythics and dungeons and you plan on even raiding a little bit, I would do DBM and download it. So these are my talents. It's pretty standard build, not too much change. You could change Mistwalk for Zen Pulse if there's a lot of trash. It's a lot of healing. The only tip or trick I would like to tell you guys is if you're going a lot, one, you're probably not using F-use enough. F-use is a very underrated heal. It's a flash heal pretty much. I'll get into it later. But another thing you can do is spec into life cycles. Life cycles helps with mana so much, and you will rarely go when spec into that. So if you're low geared, low item level, and you're going spec out a Mishap and go into life cycles. It helps tremendously. So now let's get into our different heals. So we have 4 or 5 strong heals, and I'll go through each one of them and tell you when to use them, when to optimize your healing. So first, as I mentioned before, is F-use. It's our flash heal, pretty much. It's really strong when somebody is between the range of 75 to 80% health. They're not being focused or anything. Just throw a quick F-use on them, and that should be good. That'll top them off. Hope maybe it'll crit too, so even better. Another heal is Enveloping Mist. Use this when someone's below 50% and you want to top them off within like 2 or 3 seconds. Use that. You will mainly be using this on your tank. Just never let it drop. Always keep Enveloping Mist on the tank, no matter what. Something that pairs well with this is Thunder Focus Tea. Thunder Focus Tea will make it instant, so if someone takes a huge hit from a boss and you expect more damage to get put up against them, Thunder Focus Tea, Enveloping Mist them, and that should be able to top them within 2 to 3 seconds. Another heal that really I don't use too much is Essence Font. It's really mana consuming, 88,000 mana to cast, and it's channeled. So you could pair Mana Tea with it, which makes it alright. The mana cost is reduced by 50%, which is good. But the AoE heal is decent, but I'm not a fan of it too much. Life Cocoon is your go-to heal when someone takes a huge chunk of damage. Remember, it is on a 3-minute cooldown, so it's a major cooldown now. So make sure you use it effectively. Next to your Renewing Mist, use this off cooldown. This should always be on a cooldown. Put it on someone who's taking damage. It's important to always have it rolling on everybody in your group. Next one's Revival. This is one of the heals I was talking about with like monks being gear dependent. Revival used to hit for me like not even 20% for my party members. It was disheartening a little bit, but with better gear it heals more, and now it does. It dispels everything, so that's really important against bosses that have multiple things that need to be dispelled. Shaylun's Gift. This is a really good heal. I usually save it up until about 12 stacks. At 12 stacks, it does about 80% of a health bar on a tank, so it'll top anyone off at 12 stacks, but you can still use it before then. If you're spec'd into it, summon Jade Serpent statue. Use this for every pool. Put it down. Get used to putting it down before boss fights, before mobs. Just get used to putting it down. And finally, Vivify. This makes up for Uplift that they pruned. This is our AoE heal. This is our go-to. Use this whenever you can. If your party's stacked, make sure you use it effectively. Make sure you have Renewing Mist being put out. But Vivify is really important for AoE damage situations. So now that we talked about heals, let's get into trash. Now, trash is actually so annoying, but there are a few things you can do to make it easier. For one, you can use paralysis on nearly any mob. Not all of them, but most of them. So, and it's 60 seconds in Mythics. So, just paralysis, one of the adds. It reduces damage taken from everybody. It's one less cast you need to worry about. So, just keep that in mind. Another thing that you could do is you could use Leg Sweep. An AoE 5 seconds stun on all the mobs. That means no one's taking damage. No one has to interrupt anything, which is important. So use that off cooldown when you're pulling like 4 to 5 mobs at a time. And that's pretty much it for trash pulls. There's nothing too complicated about them. Just make sure you're using your heals effectively. Finally, you have the boss fights, and what you're gonna have to do at the beginning of each boss fight is put your statue down. So you put your statue down, and finally we have boss fights. So one thing I said before, get used to putting your statue down always before the boss fight. Make sure you have hots rolling on the tank before he pulls. You know, you'll probably get back to full mana by the time he pulls. And I know it's stupid, but make sure you know the mechanics of the boss fight. It's really important because the less people stand in on the ground is the less... No. And finally, we have boss fights. So something to get used to, like I said before, is putting your statue down. That's really important to do. Make sure you put hots on your tank. That means Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, because by the time he pulls, you'll be full mana, and you already have hots rolling, and that's pretty good. Another thing you're gonna have to do, and it's stupid, but it's important. Make sure you know the boss fights. It's important that you know what to stand in, what not to stand in. Make sure your group knows the boss fights, because the less stuff they stand in, and the more they know the fight, the easier it is for you to heal. It's less mana intensive, so you won't go as fast, and it's just important overall. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you learned anything, please let me know. I'll put the link to DBM down in the description. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw, and have a good day.